Brutal bikers laugh at an old soldier seconds later. They're running scared. In the small town of Millfield, a tight-knit community thrived on the values of kindness, respect, and unity. The residents looked out for one another, celebrating their shared joys and supporting each other through hardships. However, their peaceful existence was disrupted by the arrival of a notorious biker gang known as the Vipers. Led by the ruthless Razor, the Vipers reveled in their ability to intimidate and control. They roared through the streets on their gleaming motorcycles, their leather jackets emblazoned with a menacing snake emblem. The townspeople quickly learned to keep their heads down and avoid crossing paths with the bikers, fearing the consequences of defiance. Amidst the growing tension, an old soldier named Ethan quietly observed the town's plight. With a weathered face and eyes that held a profound depth of experience, Ethan had seen his fair share of battles, both on the front lines and in the struggles of everyday life. Despite his age, he carried himself with a quiet strength that commanded respect. One fateful afternoon, as Ethan made his way through the town square, he found himself face to face with a group of Vipers. Razor, flanked by his loyal minions, sneered at the old man, sensing an easy target for their amusement. Well, what do we have here?" Razor taunted, his voice dripping with disdain. "Looks like Grandpa forgot to take his nap today." The other Vipers cackled, their laughter echoing through the square. Ethan remained unfazed, his gaze steady and unwavering. "I may be old, but I'm not deaf," Ethan replied calmly. "And I've seen enough in my life to know that true strength doesn't come from intimidation." Razor's eyes narrowed, his ego bruised by the old man's defiance. He stepped closer, his stance threatening. "You've got a big mouth for someone who's about to learn a painful lesson." As the tension escalated, a figure emerged from the shadows, his presence commanding immediate attention. It was Marcus, a retired war hero known throughout the town for his unparalleled legacy of courage and justice. He had served alongside Ethan in the military, forging an unbreakable bond of loyalty and respect. "I suggest you back off," Marcus warned, his voice steady and authoritative. "This man has faced greater challenges than you can imagine, and he's not alone." News of the confrontation spread like wildfire through Millfield. The townspeople, who had long felt powerless against the Vipers' reign of terror, found a glimmer of hope in Ethan and Marcus's bravery. Whispers of change began to circulate as the community started to realize that they were stronger together. Ethan and Marcus, now reunited after years apart, reminisced about their shared past over a cup of coffee at the local diner. They had seen the horrors of war, witnessed the depths of human cruelty, but they had also experienced the transformative power of courage and camaraderie. "We can't let the Vipers continue to terrorize this town," Ethan said, his eyes filled with determination. "We've fought for something greater before, and we can do it again." Marcus nodded, his mind already formulating a plan. "We need to rally the community, show them that they have the strength to stand up for themselves." As word of their intentions spread, the townspeople began to gather, drawn by the promise of change. In the town square, Ethan and Marcus addressed the crowd, their voices filled with conviction. "We understand your fear," Ethan began, his gaze sweeping over the sea of faces. "But fear is a choice, and today we choose courage. We choose unity. We choose to take back our town." The crowd erupted in applause, their spirits lifted by the old soldier's words. Marcus stepped forward, his presence commanding respect. "Change starts with small acts of kindness, with daily choices that lead to great transformations," he declared. "Together, we can plant the seeds of hope and watch them grow into something powerful." As the community dispersed, inspired by the call to action, Ethan and Marcus knew that the real work was just beginning. They set out to organize the townspeople, forming committees and task forces to address the various challenges they faced. In the days that followed, small acts of kindness began to ripple through Millfield. Neighbors helped each other with groceries, volunteers cleaned up the streets, and community gardens blossomed, symbolizing the growth and resilience of the town. The Vipers, unsettled by the newfound unity of the townspeople, grew increasingly aggressive in their attempts to maintain control. They vandalized property, harassed residents, and made a show of their strength through reckless rides and public disturbances. Razor, fueled by his bruised ego and the threat to his power, became even more ruthless in his actions. He targeted those he perceived as weak, hoping to crush the spirit of resistance before it could fully take hold. One evening, as Ethan walked home from a community meeting, he found himself surrounded by a group of vipers. Razor emerged from the shadows, a malicious grin on his face. "You should have minded your own business, old man," Razor sneered, cracking his knuckles. "Now you'll pay the price for your meddling." Ethan stood his ground, his posture calm and resolute. "I faced far worse than you, boy, and I'm not afraid to do what's right." As the vipers closed in, ready to strike, a voice called out from the darkness. "That's enough." Marcus stepped into the light, flanked by a group of determined townspeople. They had heard about the confrontation and rallied to support their friend and mentor. Razor's eyes widened in surprise, taken aback by the show of unity. He had underestimated the strength of the community, the power of their collective courage. "This ends now," Marcus declared, his voice unwavering. "We will not be intimidated any longer. This town belongs to its people, not to a bunch of thugs who prey on fear." The Vipers, sensing the shift in power, began to hesitate. They had never encountered such resistance before, and the sight of the united community left them uncertain. Ethan stepped forward, his voice steady. "It's time for you to make a choice. You can continue down this path of cruelty and face the consequences, or you can choose a different way. A way of redemption and change." Razor, his bravado faltering, looked around at his fellow Vipers. For the first time, he saw the flicker of doubt in their eyes, the realization that their reign of terror was coming to an end. In the aftermath of the confrontation, the town of Millfield experienced a profound shift. The Vipers, their power diminished and their unity fractured, began to retreat into the shadows. Some, like Razor, clung stubbornly to their old ways, refusing to accept the change that was sweeping through the community. Others, however, found themselves questioning the path they had chosen. They had joined the Vipers seeking a sense of belonging, a place where they could assert their strength and feel respected. But now, faced with the true power of unity and courage, they began to see the hollowness of their actions. Ethan and Marcus, recognizing the opportunity for redemption, reached out to the wavering Vipers. They invited them to community meetings, offering a chance to be part of something greater, to find purpose beyond the confines of the gang. Slowly, hesitantly, some of the Vipers began to attend the meetings. They sat at the back, their eyes downcast, unsure of their place in this new world. But as they listened to the stories of the townspeople, witnessed the small acts of kindness and the collective efforts to rebuild, something stirred within them. One young biker named Jax, who had always harbored doubts about the Vipers' way of life, found himself drawn to the community's spirit. He approached Ethan after a meeting, his voice trembling with uncertainty. "I want to be part of this," Jax confessed, his eyes filled with a mix of fear and hope. "But I don't know how to change. I don't know if I'm worthy of redemption." Ethan placed a comforting hand on Jax's shoulder, his eyes filled with understanding. "Redemption isn't about being worthy, son. It's about choosing to be better, choosing to make amends. And that choice starts with a single step." Encouraged by Ethan's words, Jax began to distance himself from the Vipers. He volunteered at the community garden, using his strength to till the soil and plant seeds of change. He found solace in the simple act of nurturing life, of contributing to something greater than himself. As Jax's transformation became apparent, other Vipers took notice. Some mocked him, calling him weak and a traitor, but others, inspired by his courage, began to question their own choices. They saw in Jax a glimmer of the person they could become, a reflection of the potential that lay dormant within them. As the town of Millfield continued to heal and grow, Ethan and Marcus knew that the true test of their progress would come in the form of a community project. They proposed the idea of transforming an abandoned lot in the heart of town into a vibrant community center, a place where people of all ages could gather, learn, and celebrate together. The townspeople rallied behind the idea, pouring their energy and resources into the project. They cleared the lot, planted gardens, and worked tirelessly to renovate the old building that would serve as the centerpiece of the community center. Amidst the bustling activity, Razor watched from the shadows, his heart heavy with conflicting emotions. He had seen the change in his former gang members, the way they had found purpose and belonging in the community. A part of him longed for that same sense of connection, but his pride and fear held him back. One day, as Razor lurked near the construction site, he found himself face to face with Jax. The young man, once a loyal follower, now stood tall and confident, his eyes filled with compassion. "It's not too late, Razor," Jax said softly, extending a hand. "You can be part of this too. You can find a new path, just like I did." Razor hesitated, his gaze flickering between Jax's outstretched hand and the community center taking shape before them. In that moment, he saw a glimpse of a different future, one where he could be more than the sum of his past mistakes. With a trembling hand, Razor reached out and grasped Jax's palm, a silent acknowledgement of the chance he had been given. Together, they walked towards the community center, ready to lend their strength to the cause. As the weeks passed, the community center blossomed into a vibrant hub of activity. Children played in the gardens, teenagers attended workshops on art and music, and adults gathered for meetings and social events. The once abandoned lot had become a symbol of unity and transformation, a testament to the power of small acts of kindness and daily choices. Ethan and Marcus, watching the community thrive, felt a sense of pride and fulfillment. They had seen the town weather the storm of fear and cruelty, emerging stronger and more united than ever before. The grand opening of the community center was a day of celebration and reflection for the people of Millfield. The sun shone brightly as residents gathered in the gardens, their faces filled with joy and a newfound sense of belonging. Ethan and Marcus, standing at the podium, looked out at the sea of faces before them. They saw the transformed Vipers, now an integral part of the community, working side by side with the very people they had once terrorized. They saw the children, their eyes sparkling with hope and innocence, and the elders, their wisdom etched in the lines of their faces. "Today, we celebrate more than just the opening of a building," Ethan began, his voice filled with emotion. "We celebrate the triumph of the human spirit, the power of unity and compassion in the face of adversity." Marcus stepped forward, his presence commanding attention. "Each and every one of you has played a part in this transformation. You have shown that when we stand together, when we choose to be the change we wish to see, there is no obstacle we cannot overcome." As the crowd erupted in applause, Razor stepped onto the stage, his presence a testament to the profound change that had taken place within him. He cleared his throat, his voice trembling with the weight of his words. "I stand before you today, not as the man I once was, but as the man I choose to be," Razor declared, his eyes glistening with tears. "I have learned that true strength lies not in the ability to instill fear, but in the courage to admit one's mistakes and strive for redemption." He turned to face Ethan and Marcus, his gaze filled with gratitude. "I owe my transformation to the unwavering compassion and guidance of these two men. They showed me that it is never too late to change, to become the person we were meant to be." As Razor stepped back, the crowd surged forward, enveloping him in a warm embrace. The once feared leader of the Vipers found himself surrounded by the love and acceptance he had never known, his heart swelling with a profound sense of belonging. In the years that followed, the town of Millfield continued to thrive, its spirit of unity and kindness growing stronger with each passing day. The community center became the beating heart of the town, a place where people of all backgrounds could come together to learn, grow, and support one another. Ethan and Marcus, now revered as the wise elders of the community, spent their days mentoring the younger generations, sharing the lessons they had learned through a lifetime of service and resilience. They watched with pride as the seeds they had planted took root, blossoming into a vibrant tapestry of hope and transformation. Jax, once a lost soul seeking purpose, had become a leader in his own right. He spearheaded initiatives to reach out to troubled youth, offering them the same chance at redemption that he had been given. Through his tireless efforts, countless lives were touched, and the cycle of fear and violence was slowly replaced by a culture of compassion and understanding. Razor, the former king of the Vipers, had found his true calling in the service of others. He volunteered at the community center, using his strength and skills to build and repair, to create rather than destroy. In the eyes of the children who flocked to him, he saw a reflection of the man he had become, a man worthy of love and respect. As the sun set over Millfield, casting a warm glow over the town, Ethan and Marcus sat on a bench in the community garden, their eyes filled with contentment. They had seen the power of small acts of kindness, the transformative impact of daily choices. They had witnessed the triumph of the human spirit, the resilience of a community that had chosen to stand together in the face of adversity. You know, Ethan mused, a smile playing on his lips, I never thought I'd see the day when a bunch of bikers would be planting flowers and reading to kids. Marcus chuckled, his eyes twinkling with mirth. Life has a funny way of surprising us, my friend, but it just goes to show that there's hope for everyone, no matter how lost they may seem. As the two old friends sat in comfortable silence, the laughter of children and the murmur of conversations drifted on the evening breeze. The town of Millfield had become a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of unity and the enduring strength of the human spirit. And so, with hearts full of gratitude and eyes fixed on a brighter future, the people of Millfield continued to write their story, one small act of kindness at a time. For they knew that in the face of fear and cruelty, the greatest weapon was not might, but the courage to stand together, to choose compassion over hatred, and to never lose sight of the transformative power of hope.